This is a CS2 case. You can buy a key for $2.49 to open it, and you have a chance to get that elusive rare special item.
Oh, I got a gold. I got a f***ing gold. Oh, let's f***ing go. What did you get?
But let me be clear, this is not the reality of CS2 case opening. So today we're breaking down everything there is to know about CS2 cases, and hopefully by the end I'll manage to convince you not to open any CS2 cases, because as tempting as they are, opening them is one of the worst decisions you could make. So before you open any more CS2 cases, watch this video all the way to the end, because it's gonna save you a lot of money. I love my Deagle Blaze, but it's time for it to go, and the best place to sell it is on Skinland, and they're now the official partner of Team Vitality, one of the biggest CS2 teams. Visit the link in the description and use code TechSavvy for a free $10 on your first sale, and if you qualify, you can even get an instant payout, not having to wait the 8-day trade protection period. You also get your money instantly if you choose to get paid out in balance, which is what I did with my Deagle Blaze, and now that skin prices have absolutely tanked across the board, you can now pick up these skins on Skinland for even cheaper than before. There's tons of payment methods, both for cash outs and deposits, so go check out Skinland if you want to sell your skins at the best rate, and if you want to get money instantly, even after the trade protection update. CS2 cases are what are known as loot boxes. Essentially, it's a container that you open to get a new item. Most of the time, it's going to be a gun skin, and what you get is very much random, so you won't know what you get until you've spent the money on opening it. So you spend some money, there's an element of randomness, and you get something back that's worth money. That is, by definition, gambling, which is one of the reasons that you should not open cases. But let's dive a little deeper. There's 3 ways to get CS2 cases. The most common one is leveling up every week. You will get a guaranteed case from your weekly care package. 99% of the time, it's going to be one of these 5 cases, but you have a 1% chance to get a more expensive case from what is known as the rare drop pool. But let's be real, this really isn't going to happen. It's going to take you 2 years on average to get 1 rare drop pool case if you level up every single week. Another way to get cases is to redeem them from the armory for armory stars. Right now, the only redeemable case is the Fever case for 2 stars, which is the equivalent of 80 cents. And the final way to get CS2 cases is just to buy them. You can buy them from the Steam market, or you can buy them from third-party marketplaces, but wherever you buy them, it's gonna cost you real money. But guess what? Even if you already paid for the cases, this still does not give you the ability to open them. Here is a Fever case. I just bought it from the Steam market, and if I go to unlock container, we're greeted by this page where it shows us what we could get. Each case has its own collection of skins. These are the skins in the Fever case. There are a bunch of bangers in here, such as the Zeus Tosai, the Glock Shinobu, and the Op Prince Stream. But there's also this, the rare special item commonly known as
gold, gold, gold.
The odds of you opening them are absolutely tiny. We'll get into what they are exactly in a little bit, but these are the knives or gloves depending on what cases you open. For the Fever case, this is the set of knives that you could get. So just how rare are these skins? Well, notice the little colors under the skins. The colors refer to their rarities. So blues are called mil-specs, they're the most common. Then we have purples that are called the restricteds, followed by pinks, the classifieds, and finally the reds, which are called the coverts. Each of these rarities is 5 times as rare as the one below it. So restricteds are 5 times as rare as mil-specs, classifieds are 5 times as rare as restricteds, and coverts are 5 times as rare as classifieds. It might not sound like coverts are super rare, but it turns out that coverts are 125 times as rare as mil-specs. And the golds, oh boy, they are almost 3 times as rare as coverts. Here are the exact odds for each rarity. The odds are absolutely horrendous. 96% of cases that you open are gonna be blues and purples, and most of these skins are basically worthless. And then of course we have the golds, 0.26%, also known as 1 in 384 cases. And when you see how much it costs to open just 1 case, you'll see why it's a terrible idea to open them. So here we are. Now that I've bought the case for 92 cents, I'm now presented with the option to buy a key for $2.49. Unsurprisingly, when you open a case, the case item itself is consumed, but unlike how keys work in real life, when you open a case, the key is consumed as well. So you have to buy a key key for every single case that you want to open. It's a bad idea, but let's open this one case anyway. What a surprise, I got a blue. So I spent 92 cents on the case, $2.49 on the key, and this blue is worth 12 cents. So I lost $3.29 on this singular case. And remember, the odds of getting a gold is 1 in 384, so if I want to open 384 cases, that would cost me $1,309.44. And while there are some knives in the case that are worth more, the average knife in the Fever case is just over $300. So yeah, you can pretty much already tell that opening cases is incredibly stupid, but there's another thing that you can do with cases. Notice that when I use a key, there's actually two buttons, open to keep, which is what I just did to get my Mag 7 resupply, but you can also open to rent. So let's do it. Notice how the gold icon goes away? When you rent a case, you cannot get golds. On the other hand, you are given every single other skin in the case for 1 week for the cost of only 1 case and 1 key. The conditions of these skins are random, so you could get a battle scarred print stream, you could also get a factory new one. But there are limitations to these skins. Of course, the biggest one is that after 7 days, you will no longer have them, but you also can't apply stickers and you can't use them in trade-up contracts. But let's be real, people don't use cases to rent them, people want to open them. At this point, you should already be getting the vibe that you'll spend more money on opening cases than the value of the skins that you get back, but there is actually a number that quantifies this nicely. It's called the return on investment, or simply ROI. The name is a little bit misleading. Opening cases should never be seen as an investment, but basically this value is a percentage. It tells you what percentage of your money you're expected to get back that you spent on opening cases. There's a great website that has all the ROIs for every single case. It's called csroi.com, and it tells you which case has the highest ROI. Right now, it's the CSGO Weapon Case 2 with an ROI of 73.92%, which means that you approximately get back 74 cents for every dollar that you spend on opening these things. In other words, you're expected to lose money. And if you click on the case, it'll break down for you which rarities contribute for how much of that ROI. So for this one, for example, blues contribute the most, followed by purples, then pinks, then golds. So if you don't get a gold, you won't even see that part of the ROI, so you will lose even more money. So yeah, overall, cases are incredibly unprofitable, and you should never open them. Now that being said, I know you will not listen to me and you will still open cases, and if that is the case, here are a couple of things that you should look for in the items that you get to make sure that you're selling them for the right amount. Items can come in low floats that can be worth more than market price. For example, this FAMAS Bad Trip with a 0.003 float, the market price for a factory new is about $80, but with a 003 float, it's nearly double that at around $150. You can also get special pattern skins. The most famous one are the case hardens. Generally, the more blue you have, the more expensive the knife is. Take a look at this, for example. This random pattern Karambit case hardened and factory new is worth nearly $2,000, but if you have pattern template number 387, where the playside is fully blue, it's the most expensive skin in the game, valued at about $1.5 million. Now, don't get it twisted, you won't get a knife worth $1 million. It's only happened once, and we've opened billions and billions of cases. But if you get a Doppler knife, you might just get a little bit lucky. There are 4 phases and 3 different kinds of gems, and they're definitely not all worth the same. For regular Dopplers, the trend tends to be that phase 1 and phase 3 are worth around the same. Phase 4 is a little bit more valuable, and phase 2 is quite a bit more valuable. That is the fully pink one. If you get a Doppler, you probably got one of these 4 phases, but if you got super lucky, you could have gotten a sapphire, a black pearl, or a ruby, which are worth a lot more than their regular Doppler phase counterparts. And this is a similar story with gamma Dopplers. Phases 1, 3, and 4 tend to be worth around the same. Phase 2, the fully green one, is worth a little bit more, and the gem, the emerald, is worth a crazy amount more. If you get a gem, it should be pretty obvious, but the way to tell for sure is to look at the finish catalog. Each finish catalog corresponds to 1 phase or 1 gem, so if you got a Doppler or a gamma Doppler, check the finish catalog, scroll back to where I inspected them, and make sure that you match it up to the right phase. But even with floats, special patterns, and Doppler phases, cases are still incredibly unprofitable, so please, for the love of God, just do not open them. When you get your case from the weekly drop pool, just resell it on the Steam market. Oh, and another bad thing about cases, you will get addicted. Consider yourself warned.
Gold, 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 gold.
Gold.
Gold, 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 gold.